Hey everyone, welcome. Here we are at Job Search Live on Monday, August 17th. So it's been a while since I've been here and it's great to be back. I am going to be talking, I'm going to give people a couple minutes to get here, but I'm going to be talking about networking and networking strategy, resources, things you need to be thinking about for job search and networking, how those two pieces fit together. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and I'm looking forward to seeing people here. It's good to be here, and thank you all for joining me for Job Search Live if you're here. We're going to be talking about networking and how that relates to job search. Those are some of the articles that were featured in this week's Summary Sunday. So we'll get started in about a minute. Hey Trisha, good to see you here. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds or so. I just want to give people a chance to get here. So, okay, we're almost there. Welcome. Everybody, welcome. It is currently noon on Monday, and I am here for a Job Search Live. This is Hannah Morgan, Career Sherpa. I want to thank you all for being here today, anyone who's here. This is what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about networking and sort of building up your tribe. And that was the theme for Summary Sunday on Sunday. And I'm going to include a link to Summary Sunday in here. So if you want to follow along, you can absolutely do that. Uh, I'm going to just give sort of my take on the article and why I shared it and why I think it's important for the different topics. So one of the things that we know about job search is that we can't do it alone. And one of the things that I've been pushing for, and I just recently gave an interview on this, and it was really sort of it made a lot of sense to me when I was saying it, and I think it's something that a lot of people forget about is that you don't really need to expand that far from your core network, your quote unquote tribe, the people that know you and you're aware of. You don't need to go that far outside of your tribe to find opportunities. What that means is that you have to do a much better job educating your current circle of friends and connections so that they know what it is you are looking for and what you can do. So if you're not exactly sure what you can do, you can clearly state that. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. I'm leaning in these two different directions. I'm looking for XYZ kind of job or PDQ kind of job. But all of that messaging comes from you, the job seeker. You, the person reaching out to your friends and connections. That's what you have to get clear on before you start reaching out to people. Your tribe needs to be up level. They need to know exactly how they can help you. And that is up to you, and you can do that. We know because we have been using LinkedIn a lot that LinkedIn is a pretty powerful tool for this. But LinkedIn is always making changes, and their recent article on the official LinkedIn blog talked about the new ways you can the new features that LinkedIn has rolled out to help make it easier for you to educate your network on who you are and what you're all about. First and foremost is the open to work. indicator. And if you have seen, sometimes you see that green circle around somebody's photo, that that's an option that people have selected to um, easily educate people that are looking at their profile that they are open to work. But you don't have to go to that extreme. You can absolutely just share with recruiters that you're open to work. And all you need to do is to go to your LinkedIn settings to make that happen, whether it's under privacy or oftentimes LinkedIn will actually, when you go to edit your profile, LinkedIn will pull up a little box that says, do you want to notify your network that you are open to work? So if you haven't figured that out yet, it is one way that you can easily message people who are looking at your profile that you are open to work. So please, in the olden days, like a few months ago, it used to be open to new opportunities. They've now gotten it that you are open to work. So that is something that I definitely would recommend everybody turn on, whether they make it publicly viewable to everybody or whether they just make sure that recruiters looking at the profile know. Whatever you're more comfortable doing in your situation, either one of those things will work. It's a feature of LinkedIn that is easy to use and there's no reason not to. Um, the other feature that LinkedIn has rolled out pretty recently is the how to pronounce your name. And if you have a name that people regularly butcher, this is a great way. Basically, all you do is go to edit your profile and there'll be a button there to pronounce your name and you leave a little message on how to pronounce your name. And I've seen some people get sort of creative with this and do more than just how to pronounce their name, but give a little bit of a tagline in there. But we can't guarantee that somebody's going to click on that extra function, but it's certainly something that you could do. And if there's ever an opportunity to let people know how to pronounce your name better, that we're all in favor of that. My favorite feature of LinkedIn has always been the quote unquote featured section, which now appears above your oh, it appears in your profile. I can't remember if it's above or below your about section. But in the olden days, it would only feature articles, and now you can feature almost anything. An article that you've written outside of LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, a post, a status update that you want people to see on LinkedIn. You can post um, comments that share articles where you've left a comment. There are lots of different ways to draw attention to your thought leadership or help people understand what you're thinking and saying and what you've done. So if you've been quoted in a newspaper article or your name or photo has appeared or you in an industry newsletter, all of those links are linkable in the featured section. And I've said LinkedIn is an online portfolio. Use it. People are immediately drawn to visual images, and that's what the featured section is all about. Visual images of words or pictures. So really, if you haven't taken a minute to think about what you want to feature and how you're going to do that, please go and read more about how to get more out of the featured section. And then there's this a whole nother feature that LinkedIn has that's more it's open for business and if you are a freelancer, you can indicate to others that you're open for business and talk about the services that you deliver. I believe that is not necessarily a free feature, but a paid feature, but you can definitely check that out if you're into freelancing. And the last thing that I want to mention, I love sharing articles that I come across, but I don't want to be stingy. I want everybody to know what I know and see what I see. So if you are interested in these articles from LinkedIn, all you need to do is subscribe to the LinkedIn official blog yourself. And at the very bottom of the article, you'll see a blue box that says email subscription. Just click on that, enter your email, and then you're going to get updated whenever the LinkedIn official blog posts something new. And I think that it just make sure that you're going to be staying on top of things because yeah, that that might be something that you're interested in. The other bit of news that I shared in the summary Sunday was the fact that Scribd has acquired Slideshare from LinkedIn, and that's not going to mean anything different. The full transition happens, I think, in September. They're still, according to Scribd, the article in TechCrunch, they're still going to keep the two separate. So there's going to be Scribd, and then there's going to be LinkedIn, LinkedIn, the SlideShare. But SlideShare has been used historically to share slide decks, but SlideShare opened up the opportunity to share PDFs as well. So, if you haven't thought about using SlideShare to showcase, again, work that you've done, articles that you've written, slide presentations you've given, that it's a really great way to not only show your thought leadership and your knowledge, but to gain recognition. So, I encourage you, if you haven't played around with SlideShare, to look at that, um, because I think it's a really valuable tool. It builds online visibility and credibility. I have suggested people use it as a slide share or a slide deck to showcase their work transition or their work history, their work achievements. Create instead of a very limited resume, which is, very two-dimensional. No, it's very regimented in what we can create. Why not create a presentation? And all kinds of creativity it can be used there to show what you want people to know about you, to give a feel of your personality, to highlight recommendations or endorsements. All that kind of stuff can happen with SlideShare. And when you upload it into SlideShare, you can also link that as a featured doc in your featured section on LinkedIn. So it makes it pretty easy to do that and create online visibility. I also shared an article by Madeline Sklar on how to use Twitter more intentionally, and I think that a lot of times we lose interest in something. Twitter has always been my favorite platform. It's not as wonderful. I think it's not as active for a lot of the people that I'm inter interacting with as it used to be, but I still find it a great source of information. And if you haven't used Twitter, or you're on the fence, or you've let your Twitter profile become dormant, go back and read her article about how to be more intentional in how you use Twitter to get the most out of it, because it still is a great real-time feed of news as long as you carefully and thoughtfully curate the news that you are getting. In other words, you can't rely on every resource on Twitter to be accurate and authentic, but you can select who you're following on Twitter so that you are getting accurate and authentic news. So definitely go read the article, because I think that it helped me understand. It's about what being clear about what you want to get out of the platform, and then following people that are going to be beneficial, but also being active on the platform by sharing things, articles, information that it will reflect well on you and your knowledge and ability. Um, and then the last thing she sort of Madeline reminds people of, is to set a time limit. And this is true on LinkedIn as well. It's true on Facebook. It's true on any platform that you're using. Set a time limit. What I have historically done is I've spent probably, and I don't break it down by social media platform, but in general, I spend about an hour in the morning before my day gets started, queuing up articles on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and responding to comments on LinkedIn, and responding to questions on Twitter. So I spend about an hour of my morning across the different social media platforms that I'm active on, which is Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and to a smaller degree, Instagram. So I queue all that stuff up and respond to questions and see what's being said, so that I get that out of my way. And then again, around lunchtime, I'll check in again, probably for half an hour. And then at the end of the day, I'll checking in again for another half an hour or so. So overall, it's about 2 hours out of my day, but I do try and keep the time that I'm investing to a 30-minute or 1 hour limit. Otherwise, it becomes overwhelming and we go down rabbit holes and I lose track of what I'm supposed to be doing on there anyway. So um, use a timer to make sure that you're not getting out of control. And the other article that I shared was about how it was sort of erroneously titled. It's called How to Find Followers on Instagram. And I'm not necessarily sure that you as a job seeker are looking for followers, but but the same logic applies. How do you find people that are interested in the same kinds of things that you are interested in on Instagram? And I know that people have sort of thought about Instagram being more visual and maybe not as professional as LinkedIn. And it's not competing against LinkedIn. I'm not going to suggest that it is, but there are some interesting people sharing interesting things on Instagram, and it's just one other way to stay current. Let me push the envelope one step further because a lot of you may be using Instagram for personal purposes, right? So you're connected with your college friends or your past colleagues or your family members. If Instagram is how you are sort of engaging, keeping tabs on them, that's great. Instagram can all that they're part of your tribe. These people that you're only connected with or partially connected with on Instagram, that's part of your tribe. You have an obligation during job search to them to educate them on what you're looking for. So I'm not suggesting every day or every minute of every day that you're posting something work related, but an occasional drop about an article that is of interest to you or announcing once a month that you are actively job seeking with the specific types of work that you are looking for, the job title, the types of company that you're interested in, or maybe an update about it. You may not be comfortable using the name, but updating them about the fact that you've got a big upcoming meeting and you're really excited and ask for thoughts and well wishes before this big event. That way, you're keeping your personal network in the loop with what's going on with you professionally. There's nothing wrong with doing that as long as you're not overdoing it, right? You want to blend that into the overall messaging that you're sharing on Instagram. But to keep the two completely separate, I think is sort of a mistake because there are people that know you in your personal life that probably have connections in the professional world that you would benefit from. But if you're keeping them completely separate, that's never going to happen. And the same is true for Facebook, of course. Years ago, who would have ever thought of having sort of an article, a live video stream discussing job search stuff on Facebook? That would have been crazy a few years ago. People would not have been open to that. Facebook was where they went to keep track of their friends and family. But what we realize is that people were spending so much time on Facebook that it just made sense to make it more of a one-stop shop for all things social media, news related, personal and professional. And that there's a lot of overlap with that sort of logic and what's happening on Instagram too. Friends and family first, but if people are spending a lot of time there, which they are, might as well try and tap into the power of your friends and family on Instagram for your job search. So hopefully that gives you some things to think about. And the two articles in this week's Summary Summit Sunday give you a little bit more insight on how to be more productive and thoughtful about using Twitter and Instagram. The last article that I shared was about reaching out for help during the pandemic, and three email templates for that. So, Trisha, yes, the story feature on both LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook are great for bringing attention to your audience as well as a broader audience. I know that LinkedIn is rolling out stories. I don't think everybody has it yet, but that's going to be really interesting. So yes, LinkedIn is planning on rolling out stories. They have used it in Spain or over in Europe somewhere. I think it might be Spain, and they're sort of piloting the stories feature out there before they get going in the US or other parts of the country. So the stories is coming. one of these days on LinkedIn like it exists on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so there's this post by the Muse, Three Rules for Reaching Out During the Pandemic. Really commonsensical stuff, but it's always a great reminder. You absolutely could, should, and will reach out to people that you know personally, your tribe, the people that care about you on during your job search and during a pandemic. They want to help. They just don't know how. So you have to ask for something specific. Either can you tell me more about working in this particular industry, or can you introduce me to somebody who does this kind of a role that you might know, or can you introduce me to somebody who works inside that your company? Any of those things are very specific requests. They are infinitely more helpful to the person that you're reaching out to than I'm looking for a job. Keep your ears and eyes open. That's not helpful. So that's not the kind of information that you want to be asking for. Keep your eyes open or your ears open. That's not helpful. I think the other thing that's so important about your outreach to people that you know, friends and family in your tribe, the people that you used to work with that you no longer do, is to be genuine and be empathetic. We're all in experiencing a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress from either having to work from home or and figuring out how to make that work, or that we've been furloughed or people have lost their jobs. There's a lot of different stuff going on, and you don't know what the situation is of the person that you're reaching out to. So please, oh please, be empathetic. Your opening line should be, "I hope all is well in your world. It's been a long time since we've talked. I wanted to catch up and see how your family is doing, or see how you are doing, or see what's new with what's going on in your work related world." But be human first. Be empathetic and genuine, and show that that human nature and your concern for them as a human being before you get into, "Hey, I need your help in finding a job. Do you know of anybody hiring for XYZ position?" That small touch of being human first and being empathetic to the person that you're reaching out to goes a long way. And I think that we're all, to some degree, I'm an introvert, and I know that I'm craving human interaction, which is a very strange thing to say, but even I'm craving human interaction. This spring summer has been a really long season, and so if someone that I don't know all that well reaches out to me, even those people that I do know well reaches out to me and I haven't talked to them in a while, personally, I'm much more likely to say, "Sure, yeah, let's jump on a Zoom call or let's have a quick phone call," because I miss people. So I think that not reaching out because you're not sure what's going on with somebody is not necessarily the right approach. Just be genuine and be empathetic. And the other rule is to be patient. It can take people longer to respond, especially in the summer. They may be on vacation or you don't know what's going on. So if a week or two has gone by and you haven't heard from the person, send them a gentle reminder. "Hey, I sent you an email a couple of weeks ago. I hope all is well. I wanted to touch base and see what's going on in your world, but I haven't heard back. So I just wanted to follow up to see if we could schedule a phone conversation." There's nothing mean or nasty about that. It's just reminding them that you had reached out. Oftentimes with email, things get piled up on our older emails and we forget about them. So all you're doing is sort of bubbling that message to the top of their email stream as a reminder, and hopefully in a couple of weeks or a week after when you follow up, their schedule will look different. They might have more time and flexibility. But don't be judgmental. Don't think that they're too busy to respond or assume that they don't want to talk to you. Neither of those things is true, right? So follow up in a reasonable time frame, and if you don't hear back from them, well, then I guess you might want to move on, and let them reach out to you when they do have time. But I always love templates, right? Because I think templates make your outreach that much easier. You're less likely to worry about what you want to say and how you want to say it. You can sort of use them as a guidepost and alter them. So you will find one, two, three different templates, four different templates, five. Wow, they can keep going. Actually, there's six. different email templates you can use sort of to help you construct an email to people that you're reaching out to. Remember, just because you haven't heard from them in a while or just because you're not in contact with them doesn't mean you can't reach out. I really encourage you to reach out to people that you used to work with, people that you did business with, people that you went to school with and haven't talked to in a while, your friends and family. It doesn't, people that you volunteered with, people that you served on a board or committee with, all of those people you should be reaching out to. And if you don't have a master list of who all those people are, it would be a good time to create that master list of all the people that you know so that you can systematically reach out to them with one of these 6 easy templates, right? Um, hey Jody, good to see you, waving back at you. That is the sort of the debrief, the overview of the Summary Sunday. And the reason I am so adamant about working your current existing network and reinvigorating that is that it's really hard work to reach out to a stranger. I know you've probably experienced that. And cold outreach emails are more likely to be rejected or ignored. People that you know a little or a lot are a little bit less likely to give you the cold shoulder. So please, if you this is going to be a message for a lot of college students that are seniors or people who are getting ready to graduate in 2021. Don't reach out cold to people until you fully exhausted your connections, your warm connections, the people that you have a relationship with. Tap into those people first before you reach out to somebody cold. If your ideal job is at Google, then you should ask everybody you know, a little or a lot, who do you know who works at Google? I'm really looking for somebody to speak with somebody who works there. Ask everybody in your circle of friends because if you can reach out to a complete stranger and say, hey, my friend Betty, who knows you too, recommended that I reach out to you as somebody who works at Google and might be able to give me some information about what it's like to work there, that your email has a much better chance of getting a response than, hey, you don't know me, but you work at Google and I've wanted to work at Google. I'm wondering if you could spend some time talking with me. That kind of email may get a response, but the likelihood, the percentage is quite low. So that's why it's so important to maximize and leverage and tap into your current existing circle of friends, everybody that you know. So, yeah, Miles, I'm glad that you're speaking the same language about talking with the people, telling people to start with their family and friends first. I think that oftentimes people think that they can jump over and get access to complete strangers, but that it works better if you have a referral and can reference somebody that you already know. I want to thank you all for being in my tribe and being part of my circle of friends and influencers. I always look forward to the Summary Sunday or to creating the Summary Sunday and then sort of debriefing it on Monday. As for those of you that don't know, I had a lot of family stuff going on over the last couple of months, and so that was keeping me away from doing this on a regular basis. But I'm back in the saddle, and I look forward to seeing any comments or questions you have, and being more active on social media again and producing more content. So I think I'm thinking about doing a couple free webinars and a couple of paid webinars in the upcoming month. So I will certainly let you all know about that. I want you to have a great Monday. Thank you for being here with me today and be well. Take care, everybody.